In the heart of the Caribbean lies Little St. James, a 72-acre island cloaked in luxury and secrecy. For the world's elite, it was a sanctuary of decadence. For its victims, it was a prison of horrors, a place where innocence was stolen and power protected the guilty. At the center was Jeffrey Epstein, a man whose wealth, connections, and crimes defy comprehension. Was he a con man, orchestrating a blackmail empire, a spy serving hidden masters? His ties to Ghislaine Maxwell, her father Robert Maxwell's shadowy intelligence world, and powerful figures like Donald Trump and Les Wexner weave a web of danger and deception. Their fallout over stolen employees or a murky real estate deal hints at Russian money and darker secrets. This is the story of Epstein's dark empire, a tale of sex, spies, and unanswered truths, where the powerful thrive and the vulnerable pay the price. Jeffrey Epstein's rise is a riddle wrapped in shadows. Born in Brooklyn in 1953, he was a math teacher at Manhattan's elite Dalton School in the 1970s. No college degree, no clear credentials. Dismissed in 1976, he surfaced at Bear Stearns, a Wall Street titan, through connections no one can fully trace. By 1982, he founded J. Epstein and Company, amassing a fortune that baffled even his peers. His Manhattan townhouse, a 7-story palace on East 71st Street, boasted marble floors and hidden cameras. His Palm Beach estate, New Mexico ranch, and Little St. James screamed unimaginable wealth. His black book listed presidents, princes, and billionaires. Bill Clinton, Prince Andrew, Ehud Barak. But his business, a black hole. Few clients, vague deals, and whispers of something sinister. The darkest whispers point to espionage. Ari Ben-Menashe, a self-proclaimed former Mossad operative, claims Epstein was an Israeli intelligence asset, running a honey trap to ensnare the powerful with compromising material involving underage girls. Ben-Menashe says he introduced Epstein to Mossad in the 1980s through Robert Maxwell, a British media mogul with his own murky ties. The allegation is chilling. Epstein and his confidant, Ghislaine Maxwell, allegedly filmed politicians, businessmen, and royalty in compromising acts to blackmail them for Israel's interests. But Ben-Menashe's story is shaky. Israel denies his Mossad ties, and his 1990 acquittal on arms dealing charges casts doubt. His book, Epstein, Dead Men Tell No Tales, offers no hard proof, no declassified files, no verified intercepts. Yet the connections linger like a fog. Former Israeli Prime Minister Ehud Barak visited Epstein's townhouse multiple times and was linked to Carbine, an Israeli tech company Epstein funded. Stephen Hoffenberg, Epstein's former partner convicted of a $450 million Ponzi scheme, claimed Epstein worked on national security issues, trading influence and blackmail, possibly for multiple governments. Journalist Julie K. Brown, whose Miami Herald reporting exposed Epstein's crimes, says intelligence ties aren't unthinkable, given his access to power. A 2017 report claims Alexander Acosta, then U.S. attorney, was told Epstein belonged to intelligence during his 2008 plea deal, urging leniency. The FBI denies espionage evidence in Epstein's files, but the absence of transparency fuels suspicion. Was Epstein a spy or a con man hiding behind the myth? Court documents and survivor accounts describe a disturbing operation involving Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. They allegedly recruited and exploited young women, including minors, trafficking them to influential figures. Virginia Giuffre claims she was sent to individuals like Prince Andrew at 17. Annie Farmer alleges abuse at a billionaire's estate. Sarah Ransom mentioned recordings of powerful men, later admitting some exaggeration due to fear. Epstein's homes reportedly had hidden cameras, and his butler stole a contact black book. House manager Janusz Banasiak described Maxwell as the boss, managing operations and staff. The operation was vast. Federal officials identified 36 victims in Epstein's 2008 Florida case, some as young as 14. He pleaded guilty to soliciting a minor, serving 13 months with work release, a deal that stunned victims. His 2019 arrest on federal sex trafficking charges promised justice. But on August 10th, he was found dead in his Manhattan cell. Official report, suicide by hanging with 3 broken neck bones. But the details unravel. Guards asleep, cameras malfunctioning, suicide watch inexplicably lifted. Julie K. Brown calls it highly suspicious. The FBI raided Epstein's homes, seizing hard drives and documents, but no blackmail tapes have surfaced. A 2025 Justice Department memo insists there's no client list. Why the secrecy? Was Epstein silenced to protect the powerful? The truth is locked away, and the system guards the key. To unravel Epstein's empire, we must confront Robert Maxwell, Ghislaine's father, a man whose life and death echo Epstein's in their darkness. Born Jan Hoch in Czechoslovakia in 1923, Maxwell survived the Holocaust, fought for Britain in World War II, and built a media empire with Pergamon Press and Mirror Group newspapers. By the 1980s, he was a flamboyant tycoon, living in Oxford's Headington Hill Hall and sailing on his yacht, the Lady Ghislaine. But in November 1991, he was found dead off the Canary Islands, floating near his yacht. Official cause, drowning, possibly from a heart attack. Yet, Maxwell was drowning in debt, $623 million looted from his company's pension funds to prop up his collapsing empire. Suicide, accident, or murder? The espionage allegations are electrifying. Robert Maxwell, Israel's super spy by Gordon Thomas, claims Maxwell was a Mossad agent, stealing the PROMIS software from the U.S. and selling it globally with a backdoor for Israeli spying. Ari Ben-Menashe alleges Maxwell worked for the Soviet KGB and British MI6, a triple agent navigating a deadly game. Former Mossad agent Viktor Ostrovsky claimed Maxwell's debts made him a liability, and he was whacked for trying to extort Mossad for a bailout. When he died, Israel gave him a state funeral on the Mount of Olives, attended by Prime Minister Yitzhak Shamir and intelligence chiefs. Why such honors for a British publisher? Historians John Loftus and Mark Ahrens document Maxwell's role smuggling aircraft parts to Israel in 1948, cementing his ties to the Jewish state. No declassified files confirm his espionage, but the questions burn. Was Maxwell silenced to protect secrets? Ghislaine Maxwell, Robert's youngest daughter, carries his shadow. Convicted in 2021 of sex trafficking and sentenced to 20 years, she was Epstein's right hand, allegedly recruiting and grooming minors. Survivors describe her as a predator cloaked in charm, luring girls into Epstein's world. A 2024 lawsuit claims Epstein boasted he was a Mossad agent. Like Ghislaine's father, Ben-Menashe alleges she joined Epstein in a Mossad blackmail scheme after Robert's death. Her attorney denies it, and Israel calls it nonsense. Yet her move to New York in 1991, her rise as a socialite, and her role as Epstein's boss raise questions. Household staff described her managing every detail: girls' schedules, camera maintenance, staff silence. Was she a predator, a pawn, or an operative? In 2025, Ghislaine offered to testify before Congress, claiming she holds Epstein's secrets. Her lawyer, David Marcus, says she's ready to tell the truth, but critics like Senator Richard Durbin warn she might lie for a pardon. House Speaker Mike Johnson and Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene question her motives, calling her a mixed bag. The Justice Department's July 2025 interviews with her remain sealed, with no public transcripts. If she knows the truth, Why the silence? Is she protecting herself or someone far more powerful? The web tightens around Donald Trump and Les Wexner, two titans tied to Epstein's empire. Trump and Epstein were friends for over 15 years, from the late 1980s to the early 2000s, partying in New York and Palm Beach, bonded by wealth and women. Flight logs show Trump took 7 trips on Epstein's private jet, the Lolita Express, between 1993 and 1997. In 2002, he called Epstein a terrific guy who liked women on the younger side. Virginia Giuffre, an Epstein victim, said Maxwell recruited her at Mar-a-Lago in 2000 when she was 16, working as a spa attendant. Maria Farmer told the FBI in 1996 and 2006 that Trump ogled her at Epstein's office, saying he was not here for you. Stacey Williams alleged Trump groped her in the 1990s, which he denies. A 2016 lawsuit accused Trump and Epstein of assaulting a 13-year-old in 1994, but it was dismissed for lacking legal merit. No criminal charges against Trump have been substantiated. Their friendship ended around 2004, but the reasons are murky. Trump offers 2 stories. In July 2025, he told reporters in Scotland he banned Epstein from Mar-a-Lago for stealing spa workers, including young women, after warnings. He did it again, and I said, "Out of here," Trump claimed. Virginia Giuffre's 2016 deposition confirms she was recruited from Mar-a-Lago's spa, but the timeline of the fallout is unclear. Trump insists he cut ties before Epstein's 2006 indictment. The second story points to a real estate battle. In November 2004, Trump and Epstein competed for Maison de l'Amitié, a Palm Beach mansion auctioned out of bankruptcy. Trump outbid Epstein, buying it for $41.35 million. In 2008, he sold it for $95 million to Dmitry Rybolovlev, a Russian billionaire, during a housing market crash. The Russian connection is where the shadows deepen. Senator Ron Wyden's 2025 investigation into Epstein's finances uncovered $1.5 billion in suspicious transactions, including wire transfers through Russian banks, some now sanctioned, correlated with the movement of women and girls from Russia, Belarus, and Turkey. Wyden's team found Epstein used these banks for payments tied to his trafficking operation. The Trump-Rybolovlev deal isn't directly implicated, but the timing and players raise questions. Rybolovlev, a fertilizer magnate with ties to Russian oligarchs, paid more than double Trump's purchase price when Palm Beach properties were tanking. Was this a legitimate sale or a front for money laundering? No evidence directly ties Trump to laundering, but Epstein's financial web, per Wyden, involved Russian banks, suggesting a broader network. Trump's 2025 tariffs on Russia and his disappointment with Putin add intrigue. Is he distancing himself or playing a deeper game? The employee theft story feels thin. Poaching spa workers, even young women, seems an unlikely end to a 15-year friendship between 2 ruthless deal makers. The real estate clash carries more weight. Trump and Epstein, both obsessed with winning, locked in a high-stakes duel. But the Russian buyer and inflated sale price hint at something darker. Epstein's own finances were a maze, $170 million from billionaire Leon Black for tax advice with no contract, per Wyden. Was Epstein a conduit for illicit funds, and did Trump know more than he admits? His name appears in Epstein's Black Book and a 2003 birthday album compiled by Maxwell, alongside Wexner and physicist Murray Gell-Mann. The Justice Department's refusal to release these files, despite Trump's 2025 promise of transparency, fuels suspicion. Attorney General Pam Bondi backtracked, citing no client list or blackmail material, sparking outrage among Trump's base. Figures like Jack Posobiec and Michael Flynn demanding full disclosure. Why the secrecy? If there's nothing to hide, why not open the vaults? Les Wexner, the billionaire behind Victoria's Secret, is the linchpin of Epstein's rise. In 1989, he gave Epstein power of attorney over his $1.4 billion empire, an unthinkable move for a Wall Street nobody. Why? Wexner was part of the Mega Group, a secretive network of pro-Israel billionaires formed in 1991 with Charles Bronfman, focused on philanthropy and Jewishness. Was this a front for intelligence operations? Annie Farmer's lawsuit alleges Epstein abused her at Wexner's Ohio compound in 1996, where she was groped during a foot massage. Wexner claims ignorance, but how do you entrust your fortune to Epstein without scrutiny? His silence is a wall no one has breached. The Epstein web is a labyrinth of power and betrayal. His black book lists Bill Clinton, Prince Andrew, Ehud Barak, and countless others. Flight logs show senators, celebrities, and royalty on his planes. CIA Director William Burns met Epstein in 2014, years after his first conviction. Steve Bannon, Trump's former strategist, believed Epstein was a spy. This wasn't a lone predator, it was a system, oiled by wealth and silence. The parallels to Robert Maxwell are haunting. Both men tied to intelligence died under suspicious circumstances. Both left secrets buried. Both shielded the powerful. The truth is a ghost. No documents prove Epstein or Maxwell were spies. No evidence confirms Robert Maxwell's assassination. No smoking gun ties Trump or Wexner to Epstein's crimes. But the gaps, missing files, sealed records, convenient deaths, scream cover-up. Senator Ron Wyden's investigation exposes Epstein's Russian bank ties, yet the Justice Department ignores the trail. Survivors like Virginia Giuffre, Annie Farmer, and Maria Farmer have fought for justice, only to face a system that protects the guilty. The FBI sits on millions of pages, refusing to release them. Ghislaine Maxwell's interviews are hidden. Why? If there's nothing to hide, why the silence? This is a story of power, not politics. It's not about left or right, Trump or Clinton, Israel or Russia. It's about a machine that lets the elite prey on the vulnerable while dodging accountability. The victims deserve answers. The public deserves the truth. The fight for justice is far from over.